Hi, everyone. I'm Mac McKelvey, and I'm here again with HK for the Some Disruptors podcast. What's going on, Heidi?
The knife. What's going on? Have you unburied yourself from the tomb that is the snowy white and great white north, or whatever that gets called up there?
It is very, we have a lot of snow. This is the most snow I've lived within. And it's presented some challenges, but it's beautiful right now. So I can't complain too much.
How does the fur baby like it? I haven't asked.
Fur baby loves it. Fur baby loves it. It's sort of oblivious to it and just bites at the snow when it's snowing. So that's pretty funny. And has an obsession, which I don't know how to even say this. She has two nemesis in the house. She has deck dog and side deck dog, which is her reflection at night, but she thinks it's a different dog. So she takes her toy over and argues with deck dog about she wants deck dog's toy and her toy, but it's one dog and it's one toy. So that's what we have going on. Same with side deck dog, but so far so good.
Say that 5 times fast.
I know, right? Side deck dog. Yeah. Anyway, but she's good. Thank you for asking. Well, we are joined today by Wade Prince, who is the Chief Market Intelligence Officer at the Gormley Group. Welcome, Wade.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Wade,
it will probably be awkward if we don't go ahead and break the ice as to the fact that you are also in Vermont and know about the snow situation here. And why is that? Why would we both be in the same situation?
Fear my wife.
Ah, surprise.
Oh,
it is
Matt's
true.
Better half.
Yes, way better. He's the way better half.
I've been looking forward to this one, Wade, because I have heard so many wonderful things about you, including some forthcoming travels to the great state of Louisiana that are coming up. So
few days.
She's in marketing, so she can spin a story. Truth, reality is not necessarily the most important part.
Wait, what?
So I'm sure she said great things. I hope that I rise to those.
There is nothing pinchy, if you will, lobster about yourself. Wasn't that what you guys were wearing? Lobsters?
Crawfish, Heidi. It's crawfish.
Is it the same? Is it the same?
No, it's not the same.
They look the same, except for there's a big difference in.
Are they distant relatives?
Lobster,
like cousins?
Crawfish.
Do they taste the same? Sorry, I have questions.
I'm allergic. I can't answer that.
No, they don't. They're both great. I love them both, but the crawfish is what they're primarily focused on in New Orleans.
Yes. So we used to dress as crawfish. This year we have new costumes for Fat Tuesday because the crawfish costumes have already been spoken for. So I will be Medusa.
I guess I'll be Perseus. I'll be in something. There's an opportunity to wear.
And for our podcast guests, I have been fortunate enough to see the prototype of Mac the Knife's hat or headpiece or wig or whatever you call it.
It's amazing.
That has to come after you preview it or you take it out to the general public. We have to have that on here for a moment because
we will
it channels a little bit of awesome, actually. Like it's awesome, and it just channel a little bit of awesome,
It does. It definitely is another view of lots of things going on up around the head. So so we have Mardi Gras this week. So that's our big thing. But until then, we are business as usual, which leads us to tonight's interview with Wade Prince. So Wade Prince, Chief Market Intelligence Officer of the Gormley Group. Before we get into the serious stuff, we like to have a little fun. We asked you to prepare a Real Housewives intro, House Husbands intro for yourself. In order to inspire you, we'll tell you ours. I'll go first. Pull my hair. I may have two names, but don't get it twisted. I know exactly who I am. HK?
I tell you what, the point gets better every time.
Every time.
It's a bad hair day. So
I just got my nails done too.
Around.
Yeah.
If you think my t-shirt makes a statement, wait till you hear me roar. And today, be a nice human, regardless of political affiliation or aisle. Don't be a dick. Kay, do not edit that out. Do not edit. Just be nice. Just be nice. Be kind. whether you're buying a coffee, pay it forward, do the things, just be nice. So that's my shirt today.
Okay. Wade Prince.
Well,
We're ready.
mine's sort of
Hello.
based on a phrase we often use in the government contracting world about the data you provide. So I think I've seen this one pretty regularly. Current, accurate, and complete, and always in control, except for sometimes. How was that?
I like it. I want you to do it again.
Uh-huh.
Current, accurate. Now let me try that. Current, accurate, complete, and always in control, except for sometimes.
Perfect. That's actually really good.
So amazing.
All right, Wade, what the heck is a chief market intelligence officer? Let's start there.
So it's our world is very data driven, and my background prior to moving entirely into this realm of government contract was in market intelligence, gathering data. I worked for a predecessor in this family tree that followed government contracting, federal, state, and local, gathered data about procurements in the past and the future. And I managed the DoD and DHS team for that and finding out what was going on. So data continues to be a big thing in helping companies inform their decisions going forward and planning. But there's also the market intelligence for us as well, finding markets, looking at where we can go. You know, it's a challenge. We're such a niche market. When you're talking about marketing, there's always a balance between speaking to the choir to some degree or trying to get new people in the funnel, using a term I might have heard from someone close by, it's a constant sort of battle. And I try to use the data to sort of form those decisions.
Well, let's go back. Why don't you give everybody a feel for how you got to this role? Can you give us a little bit about your background?
So, as I mentioned, I started in market intelligence, but the company I worked for was owned by a company called Washington Management Group that does exactly what we do now. We help companies get government contracts. There's primarily one vehicle that we work with, but we help companies put their bids together, submit their proposal, negotiate with them, for them, and then help them manage their contracts. It's not just about making money, but keeping it by keeping compliance. It's a very traditional sort of market. The concept of if you have to advertise, how good are you? That's sort of a balance. And going back decades, there might have been attempts, but nothing really has worked. So as time went on, we started to realize, just in say the last 5 years, that you have to. The world has changed. We're not meeting in person anymore. The idea of face to face and you can be make your case in person. It just doesn't happen. The events are going away or have been gone. So started looking for ways to increase our customer base and get our message out there. And it was even to the point that our BD guys decided to give up their events money and put it into SEO because people searching for us, we were way down the list, and we shouldn't be. We're one of the premier organization in this field, so they made that decision, and I started talking internally about we just need to make some efforts. We had 27 followers on LinkedIn. We just weren't making any sort of traction anywhere in efforts.
I'm going to pause you there. So let's set this up for everybody listening, because there's a reason we have Wade here today, because I think a lot of, marketing is important. You just said it, Wade, perfectly, which is marketing is really important for every kind of company. And we work a lot in the tech sector or with companies that are tech enabled. But here you are in the government contract sector, which is a completely different world. And yet, acquiring new customers, retaining customers, contributing to the thought leadership and the development of your industry is important. So that's number one. And we're going to come back to that. The other thing is, you're not a marketer by trade, but you recognize an opportunity and a lot of challenges with that. And you have been educating yourself and working with your outside firm, I know this, but we're going to talk more about this, to understand more about marketing. And it's really opening your eyes to what's possible, what's realistic, what's not, what it costs, what it doesn't, what the results are, what the challenges. So I want to set that up for everybody listening. There's a reason we have Wade on, because I think a lot of companies, a lot of people in the startup world find themselves in this position where they land in a marketing role, whether they have the background or not, and they have to figure it out. So what I'd love to do, Wade, you started talking about some of the challenges and why your firm started to invest in marketing. So let's start at the jump, right? What did your company, actually, first of all, it's called the Gormley Group. How many people work at the Gormley Group?
20, about 20.
20. Okay. So small business, and everybody that works there are they on the government contract side of the world, or do you have anyone that are specialists in other kind of jobs?
Probably have 2 people that would be considered, or one maybe is pure overhead, because even Bill Gormley, our president who ran the schedules program, the vehicle that we worked with largely before he retired a couple of decades ago, everybody's a consultant, and myself too. That's how I started. And when I made this decision, sometimes I look back and I'm like, man, I had this all figured out. Why would I do this to myself? Why would I take on something that I had the barest idea of how to do?
Because anyone could do marketing, Wade. Anyone, right? It's
easy.
Piece of cake. Just what do you do?
Google, and they just start rolling in.
That's it.
So that was it. And it's also the challenge of you don't know what things cost, and we see that too. And fortunately for me, some of the same arguments we make to our clients about being retainer, customer, and spending money I can make internally. That going from spending nothing to something, it all sounds significant, especially when you can't make a straight line between we bought this ad, therefore we got these 3 new clients. The whole 7 touches and all that sort of thing. You don't necessarily know what seed you're planting is going to be the one that results in the fruit of a new client. So it certainly had challenges of going from nothing. I think the last thing we did was a half-page ad in the Wall Street Journal in like 2004 or something like that.
So you started with a cheap option.
Right. And it had the results that
was a joke for anyone listening and not seeing my face.
I get the same sort of look about it. And it was as successful as you would think it would be.
Yeah.
Not.
Do you wear the hat of marketing, Wade, there? I do. The CMIO title is really, it's something I can talk about, and I can, I guess I could say CMO as well, but if I talk to a real CMO, they'd know very quickly that I had no idea what I'm doing. I'm doing it, but I don't know what I'm doing. So that was more of the reasoning there, but marketing is a large part of what I do. And just trying to increase our presence out there. Recognizing your background, Wade. I'm sorry. The reason I asked that question, recognizing your background, is how did you know where to start? How did you were you? I mean, obviously you've got like the OG over here as your spouse, but I mean, were you Googling? Were you asking questions? Were you just listening at the dinner table? Like, how did you know where to get started? How did you know how much money to put? How to grow audiences, because I think that's what's real. I mean, you pointed out, Mac, a lot of our folks are technology marketers, and I counsel people, I feel like often, that are looking to make the transition out of marketing at a tech company and into any other type of business. So I think it's interesting. This is an interesting conversation right now. I don't know if they think it's more stable or not, less stable or what, but anyways, sorry.
I went with the things that we largely deal with now. We know that people that find us, they look for us on Google. So doing everything around search engine optimization, and all the stuff that supports it, the video, the ads, and also LinkedIn is a big place too. So increasing our presence there. And, the challenge, like I said, when we started with this, we had 27 followers. So we'd post some big news, and the only people that would look and engage would be me and maybe like the 2 BD guys.
And me.
Yeah, right. So, just trying to get past that. And when we have a challenge of, I said the audience of sort of speaking to the choir and then trying to get to new people in the congregation, we also have the challenge of we can literally work with every industry. We're not just IT. I had IT clients. Some of the biggest IT companies on the planet are our clients. And we also have companies that are in they sell body armor and helmets, accountants, advertising, PR. Every single industry out there is a potential client of ours. So when we're talking about marketing to them, you can easily get sort of bogged down in like, where do we go? But if you stay so broad, you stay so gray, you're not really talking to anybody. So, that's the challenge of with a finite amount of money and coming from the idea of spending nothing 5 years ago. We have a sort of a boutique marketing firm that helped us, and they have honestly overserved us, but really they were helping us keep our website up to date and dealing with the Google ads. It wasn't their purview or remit or however you want to say it to go beyond that. And I've tried to engage into that, but going from spending nothing or a very little amount to what it costs, it's the same thing in our industry. There are people out there that say they do exactly what we do for, a tenth of what we charge. In many ways, you get what you pay for.
Same in marketing. You get what you pay for.
Trying to do it. It is a battle, and it's not always external, and it's not always battling upstairs. You've got people inside, it can be a concrete industry. There's the federal acquisition regulations, a giant book of regulations, and all these regulations that are pretty concrete. Even with all that, our world is still, very, very gray. It comes down to whose desk you land on largely. But it is hard for some people to think about doing this, knowing that, we're going to do all this, spend all this money, thousands and thousands, and we may not see someone come in and say, I saw that ad on Google, or I heard that radio ad on WTOP, and that's why I came to you. And that's a challenge. So it's managing up, managing sideways, managing externally. It's a challenge. And, starting off, it was easy to go from 27 to 1,000 followers on LinkedIn. Going from 1,000 to 1,300 is a lot tougher. Trying to get to people, we're pretty known in our industry, and in some ways we're trying to get clients that know us and need us for specific reasons. But also it's the challenge of people that I think I'd like to sell to the government, but I don't know how. And you have to educate them on what it is they need to do and get them on board and sort of get through the fluff up. But we talk to somebody else and they're like, a quarter of what do you charge? So that's, other than that, it's easy.
Well, let me ask you this, because I think I love the question that Heidi asked, because it really, you have to start somewhere. And I think that you've been layering in some tests along the way. What has the feedback been from your peers? Before you talk about the C-suite, let's just talk about your peers across the company. Like what kind of feedback do you get from them? Questions, excitement? What would you say?
Well, there are certainly some people that they don't even get on LinkedIn.
Wait, what? Wait, we're allowed to do that? I thought that was the law.
I started in this role, I was, moved into this role. I was 36 years old, and I was the youngest guy in the company, youngest person in the company at that time. Now, certainly there are, people younger than that, but it's tends to be an older company and crowd, and getting them to use that. But they've seen it. They've seen it. Our BD folks have seen it. We're starting to see the results. But the thing that we need to get better on is tracking where things come from. Our systems internally haven't been great at saying, say, where'd you see us? Online or someplace else. That doesn't give me a lot to work with, especially when I'm making my budget for the next year. So trying to, to get the systems in place to say, I searched this and I found you, or I saw this ad on this one campaign you ran. It's something that we're trying to get better at. But, internally, just the growth and the impact and the going from 27 to 1,000 and beyond, the engagement, the people that are seeing it. And it's resulting in success in terms of clients, and also colleagues are seeing it, appreciating it.
Is your industry an industry, I'm sorry, Mac, that's
No,
conducive
please.
to, does a client that hires the Gormley Group, are they willing for you to go out there in the ecosystem and recommend you, and can you use them as a customer mouthpiece for you? Or are customers pretty close to the vest about wanting to disclose that they have a contract with the government for a lot of reasons, right? They don't want other salespeople to come knocking at their door. Are you able to use your customers as a referral piece for you publicly?
We are, and then there's a percentage that, sort of, it's one of those things I end up hurting us with my efforts. One of our things is that the last we did it, 78% of our clients were referrals. And it's true.
Huge.
It's an amazing number. And again, I've had clients that were two people up to clients that are in every single home, companies that are just about every corner in America. That 78% number is a great number. But the more success I've had, and the more we've gotten clients through, our ad campaigns and other things, that waters down that amazing percentage. So, it's a challenge, but yeah, we do that. And one of the first things we did had some great guidance from a mentor that's a luminary in this industry about doing a reference or a testimonial video, and that was one of the first things we did. And we got some great names, and it managed to come together. And we continue to do that. And that's one of the things that many of our new clients, they want to talk to a reference that is in their industry. And there certainly is competition between, some of these markets are very small. There are some industries we've got every player, and that's great. We see proprietary info, but our goal is for everybody to be successful. And we don't, we have NDAs and all that. So there are some industries where they're very competitive and they don't want to help anybody else in their industry. But by and large, most are willing to say, hey, the Gormley Group helped us. They helped us get through this insane. We tried on our own a few times. We couldn't make it happen, but they got it done.
Well, and fun fact, Wade was our first paying customer when we launched Startup Marketer last year. He was. And he did it for me, of course. But I think he's, there he is. He's got some of our swag, which is in our store, by the way, like the hats that Heidi and I are wearing and the notebook that Wade just waved. But Wade joined it also really to learn. And I think that's something that warmed my heart. Sounds a little like emotional, but it really shows that that Startup Marketer isn't just for the practitioners that are in it every single day, that people at all stages can get something out of Startup Marketer. And I think you've really enjoyed the sessions and tea times. And
absolutely. There's something, I've just spent time digging through there, because sometimes you don't even know what you don't know. And just seeing the templates out there, especially starting this from scratch and taking this on, as my own thing. And until Startup Marketer, there wasn't really any place that I could find that was one place that I could search for, we're going to do, a video, where it's a good framework for doing that, or doing a LinkedIn campaign or something like that. It's difficult to sort through all the chaff out there, and having it in one place has been incredibly valuable. It's money well spent. Despite the relationship, I would be paying for it regardless, because it helped me in my job, and I'm glad to have it.
Probably a good time to thank our sponsor, which happens to be Startup Marketer. Sorry for the commercial, y'all. But I think it's helpful to hear from our members too on how they're using Startup Marketer. So let's break really quickly, and we'll be right back with Wade Prince.
We love startups, but marketing for them can be hard. Whether you're a founder, a seasoned marketer, or a recent marketing grad, Startup Marketer is here to help. Startup Marketer, or SUM for short, is a first-of-its-kind marketing ecosystem designed by startup marketers with experience working with over 100 startups. We understand the unique challenges you face because we've been there, and we're sharing our cheat codes for success. With bespoke marketing templates, on-demand courses, interactive sessions with experts, and a vibrant community of like-minded professionals, Some combines accelerator muscle with community wisdom. You can even book an expert to troubleshoot or ideate in real time with senior strategists and senior doers. In a world where marketing is a critical element for startup success, Some equips you with everything you need to drive growth and stay ahead. So join Some today and elevate your marketing game. Visit thestartupmarketer.com.
We are back with Wade Prince, the Chief Market Intelligence Officer of the Gormley Group. And as always, HK.
Mac the Knife. I want to know, Wade, because before we broke, we talk about all the beautiful things in the startup marketer community. I want to know where you went first. This has been a hot topic amongst us in the group. Is I want to know where you started after you did all the tell me who you are and why you're here and all the good stuff. Like, where did you start in there? Where did you think was going to have to be the foundation of starting your marketing program?
Well, I didn't necessarily approach it, going backwards. I may have probably tried to do sort of a more structured approach. I just picked off a thing. The big thing is, we're the best in this industry, but we're on the second page when you search us. And I know, I knew enough at that time that you can't buy top results. You have to do all the stuff that pushes you up. So we started, looking at knowing a video is incredibly valuable. I do have a background in film and video, so that's something that I gravitated to, and with the testimonials video, but also these sort of many educational videos about issues coming up in the program and in the industry, and also checklists to trying to educate potential clients. And, giveaway, it's always the balance of, give away some to get set the hook, but not give away the farm or however you want to frame it. So I really started with what I already kind of knew, and have been trying to expand that. I had no idea to do an ad. I researched the idea of, doing your own reports and that sort of thing that are really advertisements, but they have value there. Looking at those sort of things. But, the challenge with our industry is, like I said, anything in the commercial arena, it can be sold through this program that we work with. So, focusing too narrowly on something, you exclude a lot of the market. But again, if you get too broad, you're not really advertising to anybody. I've spent my whole career explaining why anthropology and film and video are the perfect degrees to have for working on a loading dock or
being in government contracting.
Right. So, when I first joined Startup Marketer, really the thing for me was digging around in the templates. I just enjoyed that. Just, seeing, because you don't know what you don't know, and you're like, oh, wow, this is something that I can get into and use internally, because I'm going to have to explain this. We don't have any sort of history in marketing. So it's not just me, but even our leadership and our entire company. It's not like they can think about the last time we did some sort of marketing campaign or the last time we did this. It hasn't been done before. So, I'm pitching the pitch itself, but I'm also pitching how we do it and what the likely impact is. So for me, I still go in there and dig around, because, I found things in there that weren't necessarily what I was thinking about, but like the sort of the LinkedIn campaign sort of framework. That was something I thought about, but that helped me push it across and be able to speak in an educated manner. We do have like I said, a marketing firm, but they're hasn't really been what we've been paying them for. So to be able to speak about that intelligently was an enormous plus for me.
Well, in managing a firm, I love that you said that, because oftentimes I think the solution to some of your challenges is, we'll just outsource it. Let's just get a firm and they'll handle it. But you see that there has to be somebody on your side that's working with that agency in order for them to be successful, right? They're not there every day. They don't know what goes on in your world day to day. They need to be managed and directed. I think that's an interesting reason to join Startup Marketers, to figure out how to be how to learn how to leverage, your outside resources as much as
Well,
possible
and
too.
not to sound negative or controversial, but equally important is also leveraging so you can understand when you're being taken by an agency.
Yeah,
Like, I hate
Yes,
to
that's
say that out
absolutely
you're
loud,
true
right.
but
You're right.
I
because
mean, I
you,
spend a lot of time reviewing contracts for CEOs and founders that they're spending too much money and they're not getting returns and they don't understand what they're looking at. So, oh, the website's set up and I have leads, but I don't know if how to track those leads and whether or not it's a good use of time. And I've seen lots of fancy reports that are like 40 pages long that have nothing in them, and poor marketing leaders that don't know how to read them. So I think that's a super important point too, is also being able to
Yeah.
utilize the system to ask those questions about when to identify if your firm is really delivering on the promises that they're giving to you, that they're providing, you know?
It's making me think about another template we probably need to produce.
I've
I'm on it.
often enjoyed the tea times, the webinars. It's, for someone, again, that's as green as you can be in this, that, just being sort of immersed, having a chance to ask questions to people, has been invaluable to me. It's an opportunity. It, those types of things are a big part of our world too. We charge people, we go to them ourselves. I was on today on the changes in organizational conflicts of interest, just today, so being able to go that, and it doesn't cost anything extra as a part of what we do, that's a big plus for me, incredibly valuable for somebody in my spot that's just trying to figure this out with the barest amount of resources.
Well, I feel like we need to have Wade back on a session about talking to startups, founders, and marketers about what it's like, because I want to keep going down this path. But I would love for you to come back, Wade, and do a session on how startups can work with the federal government, because I think it's interesting, because a lot of people that listen run agencies and startups, and I don't think people that run agencies, I don't like PR or marketing agencies is what I'm talking about when I say agencies, because I'm realizing in the government space, agency means something different. But firms that they don't know that there's an opportunity, like you said, just about every category has a spot on the schedule program. So would love for you to come back and do a session on how companies should work with the government, or think about or prepare to what they should know about working with the government.
Certainly, and there are so many unique elements of advertising and marketing world that are a challenge to translate in government contracting. Because so much of it is stapler, one each, or project manager by the hour, but doing things like ad spend. Is that revenue? No, it's not, but it can show up that way. So when you're,
Yeah.
those are sort of things that you need to understand. And also, I had a client that was trying to find an opportunity, but turned out the buying agency had put it in advertising, when it was really a marketing thing. So even the buyers don't necessarily know what they're looking for. And then you got the added layer of people that are the contracting people in the government whose job is contracting, not really necessarily understanding the program
Your business.
supporting.
Yeah.
So, one of the challenges of being in this industry is you have to be smart enough to be able to even sort of tell them what they need to know or how they need to frame it. And they're, advertising, marketing, PR, those have some unique challenges that present themselves in unique ways in the government space.
Well, let's go back to then. I'd like to talk about some of the challenges you're facing now. So you've set up, your basic program. So you've got your program in place, and that's you're executing against, and you're measuring what you can. You're discussing with your bosses and your peers and your other colleagues what's going on. Where do you go next? Like, what are you thinking about investing in this year or testing this year that maybe you haven't done already?
It goes back to one of the original sort of things that I mentioned, that this is an industry that if you have to advertise, and it's been very much sort of the name above the door, not necessarily that our name above the door thought that, but it just was the industry of, nobody's bigger than the name of the door, but we have some incredible talent that deserves to be out there. And we have some names that are in our industry are absolute experts. And getting them out there and sort of promoting them with the sort of newer idea, well, it's not new to the rest of the world, but that the idea of that if you have a star on your team, it doesn't overshadow the company. It raises the company. It illuminates the company. And, so that's the direction we're going, getting people out there. So realizing that not everybody, they may be great, talking to someone, on a Teams meeting about the issues with putting something on a contract or the latest timeline for doing a certain modification. But when, Riverside FM and the lights on, they don't, it's not the same. But, finding ways for people to contribute. They want to. You certainly can't make people do this, but also getting people out there because, you don't want people to think that, that the name above the door is the only thing that's there. So that's the direction that I'm trying to go, to raise everybody's profile as much as they want to, and then finding those opportunities, people that are happy to do that. I want to get out there. Like I said, the events, the in-person events are very few and far between these days, but there are certainly opportunities to speak and find those and get outside the GovCon echo chamber. We can get into these government events, but Adweek, nobody's doing government contracting, talking about advertising to the government or marketing to the government. That's a great place. All these other sort of, individual sort of trade shows that aren't necessarily government focused.
Different verticals. Yeah.
Looking at, there's it's a challenge, especially because they're unique markets. I went to an event that was outdoors and related and hunting and fishing and that sort of thing. And the market or the message that resonates there is different than one that would resonate at an Adweek or, a furniture show or something like that. And finding that messaging that works, because ultimately, you're talking to a crowd and you talk to the world, but you're really trying to get one person or a few decision makers to sign something and get them across the line. So ultimately you're talking to a person and trying to move them.
What has gotten the bosses, so the Bill Gormleys of the world, what has gotten them excited about continuing the investment in marketing?
Clients. I mean, that's it. The Inc. Magazine Power Partner Award that we got, very proud of.
Congratulations.
And my first time, managing an award and get it through was also the whole process of, finding people that are willing to speak on your behalf, to put it in and sort of balancing up. Should it be small businesses? Should it be the heavyweights? That whole thing, and getting across the line and being successful, that certainly matters. But ultimately it comes down to clients moving the needle, and having to hire new people because we've got so many new clients.
Well, did you have a good year last year? You guys really invested in marketing last year.
Yeah, we've continue to do very well. I would like to take credit from that, and we do. Our efforts do deserve some credit for that. And
there
maybe
is some attribution then, yeah. I know you said the stress thing is where to attribute, whether it's Google or LinkedIn or SEO or whatever, but you are being able to see attribution is coming from the activities, which is awesome.
Yeah, agreed. And I think that your peers and your teammates and such see it as well. I mean, because I think that's the one thing as marketers we always underestimate is the morale boost that it does give you when you see an award, when you see your company being awarded, or you see really great social posts congratulating people on your team or your organization and hiring, right? People will never really think about the fact, not never, that's overgeneralizing, but it's easy to overlook the fact that marketing has a lot to do with your company as an employer brand, right? People want to work for people. I love what you said, Wade, about getting people out there, because I'm a huge advocate of that myself, and I think Heidi is as well. But, people work for people, people buy from people. I think it's important. And I think that employee, that drawing in the top, you said you have some of the top talent, right, in your sector. You want to continue to have the best want to work with you.
It's hard to find people. Like I said, we're a very niche market. Even in the government contracting space, it's a unique area. It's a big area. It's, 40 to 60 million to a billion, excuse me, how you slice it. But people that specialize in what we do are rare. So, the more we can get our name out there, so much after a certain point, it's math. We get this many new clients. The workload that a person can handle is limited. We got to find somebody else. People start to feel the weight, and you can't wait until you're desperate to start looking for people. And through our efforts, I keep talking about me, but I'm not alone in this. Certainly, there are people on board that have helped me, and our firm has helped us. But people coming into us looking for hiring is something that we haven't really had, or really well qualified people, reaching out to us to see if we're hiring is not something that's happened as much in the past as much as it is now, and we need it. It used to be, we would say something to the effect of, when we're ready, we'll reach out to you when we get there, and it would be weeks, months, longer. But now we're able to say to someone, based on the way things have been rolling in, it'll be we'll reach out in 3 months. We'll talk in April, because the way things are going, we're going to need you then. And that's in large part the success of our efforts in getting our name and our message out there.
That's amazing. Well, Wade, how can people get in touch with you?
Well, we're at gormgroup.com, GORM group.com. I'm W Prince at gormgroup.com. That's how you can reach us. You can search the Gormley Group. If you search GSA Schedule Contracts Consultants, we'll be up there. GSA Schedule Contracts will certainly be there at the top. Through the usual ways.
I guess they could DM you in the community too if they join Startup
Certainly
Marketer.
Do that. I was going to say, if you join Startup Marketer, you can find me there too.
That's perfect. Wade, any parting things for us? Any message you want to give to the marketers on things that can make your job easier, or any parting words for our folks?
I'll say it's, the challenge is always figuring out what's relevant, what's important, what's a new thing, because you always hear new things that, what 5 years ago it was all going to be blockchains. Everything was going to be blockchain. You don't really hear about that much anymore. It's out there, I know, but being able to sort through, to go someplace, ask your questions, get an answer from people that know. Look for templates that can help guide you, in a new area. It's easy to stick with what you already know, but there'll be diminishing returns. So you have the opportunity to expand the templates and all the educations and the contact, but the your tea times, the webinars are valuable as well. You'll be able to hear about things you may never even thought of that will help inform you and your own efforts.
Well, that's it. I don't know any marketers. I can't name anyone that comes to my mind. And Heidi and I have been in marketing a long time that's done this on their own. None of us have, right? Collaboration is 90% of what makes, I think, a marketer really spectacular, is their willingness to listen, observe, learn, test, and be surrounded by really smart people. So we try to surround ourselves with the smartest for that exact reason. It makes us all stronger. And then we can help everybody along the way. All right, Wade, we're going to have you back for a session on government contracting. Thank you so much for being here today.
Forward to it. And thank you for having me. This was a great opportunity. I'm not hidden that I don't know, I'm in this blind to a large degree, but, through these efforts, we've had great success. And I feel like, there's certainly other people out there that can learn from what we've gone through.
Very real, very vulnerable, and very honest. A lot of people in the same boat, Wade. Appreciate your willingness to come out and say that out loud.
What HK said. All right, everybody. We will see you for a new episode of Some Disruptors soon. HK, thank you.
See y'all. Stay
Thanks,
warm.
Wade.
See you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.